Hello everyone, this is Dr. Dhiman and I welcome you all to this microprocessor and microcontroller tutorial series. So in this tutorial we will cover the 8085 microprocessors, as well as later on in this series we will start with the ARM processors also that are on demand these days. So in this video we will focus on the 8085 architecture. So first of all, let us learn about the 8085. This one is by Intel Corporation. So let us know first few characteristics of this processor. It is a 8-bit NMOS processor. This one is the first point. So 8-bit processor means its data bus has 8-bit of width. Its address bus is of 16-bit. Here NMOS means it is the N-channel MOSFET. This NMOS means this is the N-channel MOSFET. Now let us go to our second point. It is a 40-pin IC package with LSI chip. Okay, we have 40 pin in the pin configuration, 40 pin IC package, and it has LSI, that is large scale integration chip. The third details is it is a 5 volt DC supply for its operation. It needs 5 volt DC supply. So this is the third point. So fourth point will be it needs a clock, and every processor will be needing a clock, and its clock has a speed or frequency. So let me write down as a speed. Its speed is approximately 3 megahertz. Nowadays we have faster processors that has in gigahertz, or sometimes it goes up to suppose 4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz also, 5.2 gigahertz also we have in our practical configurations. So for this speed or this frequency of the clock, we have a time period, that is the cycle. Okay, clock cycle. So what will be the clock cycle? Clock cycle is approximately, let me write down here, it is 320 this much of nanosecond for this processor. So in some versions such as Intel 8085AH version 2, we have a time period or the clock cycle of 200 nanosecond. So in the fifth point, let me write down, it has 80 basic instructions. 80 basic instructions we have, and we have 246 number of opcodes. So what is the meaning of opcode? Opcode means it is the operation code. Op for the operation and code is the code. So operation code means the operation it is going to perform. Okay, so what is the operation? For some example, if we have suppose add R, so this R is the register, this add is the operation code. Okay, so if we get this instruction, this add is the operation code and the R is the register. So what is the function of this instruction? So add the content of this register R to the content of the accumulator. If the register is not given to which it is going to add, then the content of the accumulator it will be added. And in the case of 8085 processor, we have to perform any arithmetic or logical operation using the accumulator. Okay, so we will have to perform these functions with the accumulator content. Okay, so the sixth point here, let me write down, sixth point is it has 3 basic units. What are the 3 basic units? Now let us see 3 basic units. So what are the 3 basic units? So first one is the ALU. ALU stands for arithmetic and logic unit. So arithmetic and logic unit, it will perform various functions. We will see one by one. Okay, second one is the timing and control unit. Okay, we will see in the block diagram or the architecture. Okay, in this video itself we will understand what is the timing and the control unit. When we will see the interconnections, we will understand it properly. I will make another video about this timing and control unit also, that will explain in detail how the timing and control unit performs. And the third basic unit is the register set. Okay, that is we can write as set of registers. This is the third part. These are the 3 main parts of a 8085 processor. So first of all, let us understand what is the architecture of this processor. So with that architecture, I will explain one by one. Okay. So this is the 8085 architecture. Here we can see. So in this architecture we can see that this is the arithmetic and the logic unit. Here you can see arithmetic and the logic unit. So in this unit you can see here that we have 8, it is written. 8 means here it can process 8-bit data at a time. Okay, so arithmetic and the logic unit. What is the function of this arithmetic and logic unit? What we will do, we will make a brief description about all the units. This diagram I will explain in brief. So the ALU, the arithmetic and the logical unit, performs various arithmetic and logical operations. Suppose we have the addition operation, the subtraction operation, the logical AND. Logical AND means the AND gate you have got in the digital logic courses. I hope you have understood about the AND operation, that is the truth table of the AND gate. Suppose the logical OR operation also it can perform, logical exclusive OR also it can perform. Then another operation this unit can perform is the complement. Complement means it is the logical NOT operation. Okay, this arithmetic and the logic unit, all the logical operation and the arithmetic operation, this unit is going to perform. So how many data it can process at a time? It can process 8-bit data at a time, or it can do operation on 8-bit data. Another arithmetic operation is the increment. Okay, another is the decrement. Okay, increment means addition of 1 to the content of the accumulator. If we write increment, then it will add 1 to the content of the accumulator. Accumulator means it is the register with the help of which the ALU unit perform its operation. Okay, we have the increment operation, decrement operation. Decrement means subtraction of 1 from the content of the accumulator. Then we have the left shift. Left shift means we will shift the content of the register. Suppose we have register 0001, suppose 1101. Suppose this is a 8-bit data. If we want to left shift it, what will happen? This value will go out, then this will come here 0, this will come here 0, this will 1 will come here 1. Okay, in this way we have to write. This 0 will come here, 1 will come here, and here we will add a 0. So now this is the content of the left shift operation. After left shift, we have this 0 will be neglected, or we will delete the 0 and we will add a 0 here. Okay, or if it is 1 also, then it will be discarded and we will add 1 0 on the right hand side. Okay, that is the left shift operation. When we have the rotate operation, we can also perform the rotate left, rotate right. Okay, so when we rotate left, this content will come here. Okay, and this will go left shift. Okay, one bit it will go on the left hand side, and it is the rotate right. Then what will happen? The rightmost bit will come here on the left hand side, and all the bits will be shifted towards right by 1 position. We have so many operations that can be performed using the ALU unit. And another operation is the clear operation. So clear means all the bits will be reset, or it will be replaced with 0. Whatever be the content of the accumulator, then all the content of the accumulator, if the clear accumulator is the instruction, then all the content will be replaced with 0. Clear means it is clearing or resetting some data. So I hope up to here you have understood about this ALU operation. Now let us go to our second unit. So we have completed this part. Now let us understand about the timing and the control unit. Where we have the timing and the control unit, this is the full block diagram. Here we have this is the timing and the control unit. Here you can see there are so many operations and there are so many interconnections. You can see here timing and control unit. One line is coming to the ALU, another line is coming to the flag, another line is coming to the interrupt control, a line is coming to this temporary register, the line is another coming to the accumulator also. Every part of this system is controlled by this timing and the control unit. Okay, so what will be the working of this timing and control unit? You can see here everything is interconnected with the timing and the control unit, because this will control the operation of various components inside this microprocessor. So this timing and control unit, it will generate some timing and control signals that will be used by various components of this processor for a streamlined operation. So it generates the timing and the control signals which are necessary for the execution of the instruction. It consists of data flow between CPU and the peripherals. You can see here so many input output ports. You can see here RD means read, write, ALE, address latch enable. So many input, output or memory, which one will be selected? HLDA, reset in, reset out. There are so many operations it is going to perform. I will make another dedicated video on this topic, so you will understand in detail. So basically you have to understand that it generates the timing and the control signals. It provides status, control and timing signals which are required for the operation of the memory and the input output devices. It controls the entire operations of the microprocessor and peripherals connected to it. Peripherals means suppose input output devices, suppose a display device, this is the output device, suppose a keyboard, okay, that will be interfaced with these input output devices. Okay, it will control all the peripherals as well as the processor or the CPU unit. This function of this timing and the control unit is to generate some control and the timing signals. Here also you can see one of the most important part is the clock out. Clock out means it is the frequency. We have already seen that in the case of 8085 8-bit NMOS processor, we have approximately 3 MHz of clock speed. So this much of clock frequency this timing and the control unit will generate. And there are so many other important operations also. Here we have the 5-volt power supply, DC supply, and we have the ground also. This control unit generate all these functions, okay, all these operations. Now we have completed this second unit of this block diagram. Okay, now let us go to our third part, that is the registers. Here we can see these are the registers. These are the registers that are used by the microprocessor for temporary storage and manipulation of data and instructions. Okay, so the data remains in these registers. When you perform some operation, the data will be remain in these registers until it is sent to the memory address or the input output devices. Under the operation or the processing part, it will retain the data. So here you can see we have one 8-bit accumulator. This is one also register. This is part of the register unit. Accumulator is also a part of this register. Accumulator means, let me explain you in brief, that it is a 8-bit register, or we can say that it can store 8-bit of data for various operations, and this accumulator is used for the one of the most important purpose, that is the arithmetic and the logical operations. We will always use the accumulator. So this accumulator is of 8-bit long data. Okay, it will hold 8-bit data and it is used for the operation in the arithmetic and the logical unit. Okay, so the accumulator is the 8-bit register associated with the ALU unit, that is the arithmetic and the logical unit. This register is denoted with capital A. This register is denoted with capital A in 8085 microprocessor. It is used to hold one of the operand. Operand means on which the operation is going to be performed. It holds one of the operands in the arithmetic or the logical operation. It serves as one of the input to the ALU. You can see here ALU, this unit has two inputs. One is the from the temporary register and another is the accumulator. So these two inputs, it is one of the input accumulator. Accumulator data will be having here, or one of the operand will be stored in this accumulator during the operation. The other operand of the arithmetic or the logical operations may be either stored in the memory or in the general purpose register, and these are the general purpose registers. Here you can see these are the general purpose registers. So these registers will be used for the some operations. They can be used by the programmers during the programming. Okay, any operation or writing the instruction, it will use it. Now we have completed this accumulator part. Now let us go to our 6th number of 8-bit general purpose register. Here you can see general purpose register. These are the temporary register. You need not to mention it actually here. Okay, so this B, C, D, E, H and L, these are the 6 general purpose registers. Okay, we have 6 number of general purpose registers, and they are also, each of them are also of 8-bit long. So general purpose registers are used to hold the data during the operation. Sometimes we can combine. So how will combine B and C? Same line we can combine. B and E we cannot combine. Okay, we cannot combine B and E, but we can combine B and C. So we can have 16-bit data in the B and C as a combination or as a pair. So these B and C we can combine, D and E we can combine, H and L pair also we can combine. So using these two as a combination, the programmer can execute the instructions. Okay, the programmer cannot form pair by selecting any two registers of his choice. I am repeating it. You can select either from this row or from this row or from this row. You cannot interchange between the or interpair between these rows. Okay, so you can use or combine or pair registers from the same row. This is one of the important points you need to keep in mind. The HL pair is actually used to act as a memory pointer for the purpose it holds a 16-bit memory location. Okay, so memory pointer also, it is one of the most important function about this HL pair. Let me show you here. This is the HL pair. So let me again show you here. This H and L pair, this is used for the memory pointing purpose, usually by the 8085 processor. So these are the general purpose registers. We have completed this accumulator, this general purpose registers. Okay, we have stack pointer, program counter. We will see now one by one. So we have so many registers. We have temp register also, instruction register also. Let me explain you one by one. So the stack pointer, now let us understand what is the stack pointer. It is a 16-bit register. Okay, this is, you can see, register array, and here we have this stack pointer. Here we have 16, means it is the 16-bit register. So the stack pointer, it is a 16-bit function register. The stack is a sequence of memory locations set aside by the programmer to store or retrieve the content of the accumulator, or these stack pointers can be used to store and retrieve information of the contents of the accumulator, or sometimes it is also used for storing the information of the flags or the program counter or the general purpose registers during the execution of the program. Any portion of this memory can be used as a stack. So suppose if we have a memory unit, suppose this is a stack. So here you can see there are so many rows and each one will be having a address. Here suppose 1, 2, 3, 4. Here will be having so many stacks. Stack means it is the, suppose 1 above 1, 1 above 1. Okay, there may be any memory address that can be used as the stack pointer, used by the stack pointer, and this follows the last in first out. So why the last in first out? This is preferable because it is the faster one. Why this faster one? You can consider one example. Suppose you have a bucket. Here, suppose you are putting balls in different layers. Okay, here we have, this is the stacks. In these stacks, what we can do, suppose first we have to put the ball in the, it will fall into the bottom part. Suppose second ball will come here, third ball will remain in the third stack, and fourth ball will come in the fourth stack. And this is the last ball we have put. This was the last and this one was the first. So last in first out, whatever be the last in, it will come first. So the stack pointer also, it will point to the last location, whatever be the data put in the last time. So this will come first. So what will happen, it will speed up the operation during the execution of the program. Sometimes it becomes very necessary to save the contents of the register, some registers which are needed for some other operations. Therefore what will happen, the stack pointer will point to those registers and save it in the stacks. Okay, stacks means it is the part of the memory that is considered as the stack. So after completing the needed operations, the content which were saved in the stack brought back to the register. Okay, so some other operations was going on. Suppose for multiplication purpose, we have to do so many types of addition and manipulation purpose. Okay, so shifting also has been done in the multiplication process. So during those various processes, the data will be stored in the form of stack in the memory. So this stack pointer, what will do, stack pointer will be initialized by the programmer at the beginning of the program which needs a stack operation. Okay, stack is also used by the microprocessor. For example, it stores the content of the program counter when it jumps to the subroutine, suppose using some call instruction. So you can we can understand in our later videos about it in details. Okay, this is all about the stack pointer. So stack pointer we have completed. Now we have, this is the program counter. This is also a 16-bit register. So program counter, what is the function of this program counter? Program counter, it is a 16-bit register. It can hold the address of some memory. Okay, we can see that in the case of this 8085 microprocessor, we have 16-bit address bus. Suppose A15 to A0, 15, 14, 13, 14 up to 0, we have 16 number of bit in the address, in the address line. So this is a 16-bit special purpose register. It is used to hold the memory in the address and the next location and the next execution is going to happen in the from there. That means it is used to hold the memory address of the next instruction to be executed. So it keeps the memory, it keeps the track of the memory addresses of the instructions in a program while they are being executed. This is the main function of the program counter. The microprocessor increments the content of the program counter during the execution of an instruction so that it points to the address next to the instruction in the program. That means suppose one extra instruction is executing, and whatever be the next instruction that is going to be executed, that instruction address will be stored in the program counter. Okay, I hope you have understood up to here. This is the program counter unit. We have the incremental and decremental latch. It is a latch means sometimes we have to increment, we have to decrement sometimes. Okay, so it will latch or it will lock the increment or decremental. And we have another register, that is the instruction register. Here you can see this is the instruction register and it is of 8-bit long. Okay, it is also connected to the timing and control unit. Okay, you can see here this is the line to which it is connected to the timing and control unit. You have to understand that the timing and the control unit will be used for all the operations. Now let me use another color. So this instruction register is also important. This instruction register holds the opcode, that is the operation code or the instruction code. Opcode means suppose add R. I have already shown you in the previous part of this video that opcode means the operation that is going to be performed. Suppose if it is the addition, then add means it is the opcode. Okay, opcode for the addition operation. And suppose add R means it is the operand on which the instruction is going to be performed. Okay, so this instruction register holds the opcode of the instruction which is going to be decoded and executed. Okay, so this is the function. Instruction decoder and machine cycle coding, this is also very important. This will decode the information and it will encode the machine cycles for the operation or for the successful operation of this unit. So these are the points we have already completed. Now we have another important point, that is the flag. So here you can see this flag flip-flop. We have 5-bit here. You can see 5 means it has 5 number of flip-flops. Okay, in Intel 8085 microprocessor, it contains 5 flip-flops to serve as the status flag. Status flag, there are so many operations. I will make a separate video on detail about how this status flag works. Okay, so this 8085 has 5 input flags or 5 flip-flops to serve as the status flag. It will show some status of the operation. Okay, so what is the function? It will show some status that will be displayed as a flag, or suppose flag means what? It is some indication or some representation. Suppose we have a flag for each country that represents the country. Okay, now status flag, it will represent the various status of the flip-flops. It has 5 flip-flops inbuilt. We have 5 status flags. So let me tell you the names. We have the carry flag, we have the parity flag, auxiliary carry flag, zero flag, sign flag. Okay, we have these types of flags, and we have some unused bits also in the status flag register. We will see in detail that we have 8 bits and 3 are the unused. So what is the temporary register here? Temporary register is used by this arithmetic and the logical unit for storing temporary data. That means this arithmetic and the logical unit will perform some operation, and these operations is going to be performed between the accumulator and the temporary register. So up to here I have covered. Now let me wrap down these parts and I will explain it properly. So we are left with this address buffer and the data address buffer, and we have these are the left part. Okay, now let me explain them one by one. So we have the address and the data bus register. So here you have to understand, we have it is the 8-bit processor, 8-bit NMOS processor. Here A0 to AD7 address data. AD means address data, A for address, D for data. So here you can see address and data bus. So it is a bidirectional one. You can see the arrow is toward and outward also. Okay, inward and the outward also you can see. So this is a bidirectional bus. You can see the address bus. Here you can see A15 to A8. So let me write down here A15, A14. Okay, A14 up to A8. These are only used for the address purpose. But from A7 to A0, these 8 bits are used for the address as well as the data. Therefore, these are termed as AD and this is termed as the A15 to this much, and here we have written AD. That means AD7, AD6, AD5 up to AD0. So these are the address and data registers. So we can say that the Intel 8085 is a 8-bit microprocessor. The data bus is of 8-bit wide. Therefore, we can say that this is the address and the data bus, and we can see that this is a bidirectional. It will be used for the data manipulation purpose also, data read and write purpose also, and as well as it will be used for the address purpose. So this Intel 8085 requires 16-bit wide address bus. You can see from here to here. So all these bits A15 to A0, this is a 16-bit address. So this all of them will be used here, and here you can see the 8 most significant bits. These are the 8 significant bits. So these will be used for the address purpose. The most 8 significant bits of the address, these are the transmitted by the address bus. Okay, this is only the function is the address bus, and the least significant bits, this let me show you here. These are the address and data. This is only for the address. Okay, so this is the importance of this A15 to A0. At a particular moment, suppose it transmits either data or address. Thus, the AD bus, that is the address data bus, operates in the time shared mode. This technique is also known as the multiplexing. Here you can see this. We have time shared mode. It will work as a it will work as a address bus, or sometimes it will be used for the data purpose. Okay, so this 8-bit microprocessor that has 16-bit address bus. Therefore, it can handle up to 2 to the power 16 this much of memory. Okay, so 2 to the power 16 means 65536. This much of data, or we can say that this is 64K. So this much of memory location 65536, 65,536. This much of address or the memory locations it can address at one time. So now we are remaining with this is the interrupt control. Interrupt control is one of the most important part. I will explain in another video. You have to understand that suppose you are having suppose video is playing on the YouTube thing in the Netflix. Sometimes it will having suppose you have a phone call. Then the video will be paused and it will have the preference. That means the video playback is interrupted by some interrupt register or interrupt control unit that will control the operation of the processor, and it will give some preference. Or whenever we have suppose 2 or 3 more interrupts, then based on the interrupt preference or priority, it will give preference to that interrupt that is going to handle. And then we have finally the serial input output control, SID and SOD. So this will control the input and output to this microprocessor. So this is all about the microprocessor architecture. I hope you have understood it clearly. Some of the points I will explain in my later videos. So please subscribe to my channel. Also like, share and hit the bell icon for future video upload.